Life really isn't fair. But that's something that Anuga Cresentbay learned early on, when both of her parents were killed in a vicious werewolf attack that was disguised as a car accident to the rest of the world. There had been a lot more involved in that attack than Anuga had realized as a kid. A lot of bigotry, a lot of inter-clan and inter-pack politics, and a lot of hatred for the fact that her mother had ended up marrying outside of the pack and had married a warlock. Put all together, that meant that when the pack changed leadership and the old grandfather she used to have died, the new leader who rose to the top decided it was finally time to take vengeance on her family. It was thanks to her parents' sacrifice that her brother and Anuga were able to survive at all. The scars from that night would follow Anuga for the rest of her life. But that isn't where her story ended. Though, if you asked her, Anuga felt like her life had never even had a chance to properly begin. Being born in a backwater like Moonwood Mill meant that her family never really had a lot to put together in the first place. And after their parents died and left behind nothing but an old home and an empty bank account to take care of them, it meant that there wasn't a lot of options for Anuga or her brother. Still, Anuga had to admit, even in her angriest, that her brother, Stefan, had done his absolute best to try to hold the family together. Even though he had been only 17 at the time of their parents' violent deaths, Stefan stepped up and did his best to take care of his younger sister, especially because now it was his responsibility to hide the fact that he was a warlock, and she, a young werewolf. While Anuga was consumed by her anger, rage, and grief, Stefan put all his emotions aside and applied himself to his studies. The hard work paid off, and he was recognized as a young up-and-coming genius whose unique ways of studying medicine even bordered on what some would call magical. Stefan turned down countless scholarships to far-flung universities in order to stay in the home their parents had left them and try to provide his sister with a stable life. But grief isn't so easily shaken, and as Stefan's studies in medical school demanded more and more of his time, Anuga found anger and rage to be the best outlet for her emotions. Before too long, she was expelled from high school, and she never bothered going back. Concerned for her future, and lonely himself, Stefan finally found what he hoped would be the perfect solution. A new fiancé. In the form of a very young part-fairy woman, over twice his age, who had stepped into his life like a fairy godmother. And she was sure to provide both the Cresentbays with their happily ever after. Right? Hello everyone, and welcome to a tale of werewolves, warlocks, and the very, very distant great nieces of fairy godmothers, with our Cresentbay family and the new arrival of The Sims 4 werewolves, which, you know, even though we're here, even though I can see the scars literally on the walls and on poor Anuga, I still can't quite believe this is happening. Like, it feels like it all arrived kind of quickly. But sure enough, guys, we are here and we are in a brand new world. The sun is finally setting, which is so exciting. You can see the new moon. Oh, or, you know, well, you technically can't see the new moon, but you know what I mean. The new lunar cycle is now added into The Sims 4. We are in a brand new world. Is that literally, there's literally a werewolf walking past. Oh my goodness, this is happening. I guess this is really happening. I'm still kind of in shock. It all feels like it just arrived so quickly, at least to me. But welcome! So I already introduced you guys to our main characters that we have this time around. The new or excuse me, the Cresentbay family. I almost wanted to call them New Crest, but that's definitely not it. But they are indeed a pair of orphans, as mentioned in the beginning. I'll have a little write-up synopsis, and I'll try to share some fun kind of notes and kind of like a summary down in the video description as a little link as well. I'm going to be trying to do that more often with these Sim series that have like a lot of complicated stories. Also, Anuga, she has already made a mess down here. I totally forgot she knocked this trash over. Anuga, for crying out loud. Well, you wouldn't throw that away, to be honest, but I'm gonna make you because your brother's probably gonna pitch a fit, even though she's been fighting with him all day. But welcome! So, yes, we do have the Cresentbays. They are a pair of siblings. Stefan, who is feeling really flirty because he's been hanging out with his fairy godmother descendant fiance, is our older brother. He is 7 years older than Anuga, and he has been doing his absolute best to try to become a really stellar medical student and a wonderful doctor because he wants to go ahead and bring a lot of change to the world. He also is extremely skilled. He was considered a genius when he was a young teenager. He really had his life kind of opened up before him with all of these offers for scholarships in distant cities, but he put it all to the side because he knew more important than the fact that he had all these great opportunities was family. And that is our guy, Stefan. I love him, by the way. He is actually the first sim who the random generator, I was just loading the family and I was figuring out like, okay, I need to go ahead and try to create this family. Stefan generated like this, you guys. He, just like Jean Jewel from our Sims 4 like Legacy, just showed up in the Create a Sim like this, and I was like, oh, it's him. This is the guy. This is the older brother who is going to step in, and he's going to be our family-oriented bookworm who is proper, mind you, so he's going to be a great contrast to his sister, trust me. And he's also a vegetarian because he finds that that just really helps him align his magical traits, since he is indeed a warlock, a lot better. And he's gloomy because he is quite depressed, even though he didn't quite have the same reaction of rage and fury that his sister did to the loss of their parents. It did leave a permanent scar on him, and he is going to permanently be a gloomy sim. Right now he's not very gloomy, but you guys are gonna meet. You're gonna meet our handful of a distant descendant of a fairy godmother in just a second here. But yes, so that is our guy Stefan, and he is indeed actually, oh wait, not, oh, the werewolf pack. Oh, this is so cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. So just so you guys know and are prepared, I have looked up literally nothing about the werewolves other than the fact like, oh wow, I guess they're like really arriving. Oh, there's the moon. Other than the fact like the game had a release date, I looked up nothing so that we could be surprised together. So I'm going to be quite tickled as we kind of stumble across everything. But yes, Stefan is indeed a warlock, and he is trying to figure out how he can juggle magic with science. He really feels that they are two separate things. His younger sister, for contrast, thinks that magic is just a type of science that people need to research, but she is not actually a witch. She is actually a werewolf. So that is actually the point of contention that got their parents killed, just so you guys know. The reason that their parents were attacked and that the children were attacked and supposed to die as well is because there was new leadership in a very, very powerful werewolf pack that had actually guided the Anuga's family for generations. They had been part of this very strong legacy werewolf pack that dated all the way back into the medieval era. However, as time went on, their strength really began to wane. And then people started flaking off. Some members of the pack left, and the pack is absolutely nowhere near the infamy that it used to be back like when they were still in the medieval era. And it was really starting to change. And one of those changes was that Anuga's mother actually fell in love with a warlock, and she dared to marry outside the pack. It wasn't very well received, but it was accepted when Anuga's grandfather was the leader. But when there was a hostile takeover and her uncle actually ended up becoming the leader of the pack, he led a furious attack, a hunt against Anuga and her family. Thankfully, Anuga, like mother and father, their parents were able to fight off her uncle and the rest of the pack who had been driven into a frenzy. They were able to go ahead and survive the attack, but it did cost their parents their lives. So the Warlock heritage was actually also part of a very, very ancient and old blood family, but the lineage had run somewhat thin. And when it comes to magic, Stefan actually happens to be one of the first promising magic potential heirs of the Warlock side of the family tree in many generations. People have really not expected anything other than very, very basic spells from his father. His father was not a strong spellcaster, not a strong guy overall. He just had a big heart. And Stefan is kind of your surprise, where he actually is super strong. Anuga herself, she's maybe strong because she's like angry at the world, but it's just the strength of rage. So Anuga happens to be our slob who is hot-headed, a glutton, very active, and a music lover, particularly of indie music. And her favorite thing in the world, in fact, we'll go ahead and we will send her in to go practice her guitar. This is her little shed, by the way. Like, no brothers allowed, especially no brothers' stupid fairy, like, fiancés allowed. But this is her little shed, and one of her favorite things to do in the world is to go ahead and come in and just rock out on her little guitar and watch movies. She has become obsessed with movies, particularly indie films, but of late, a lot of the more mainstream films, like this interesting reenactment of a historical era drama set in this tiny little town. Oh my gosh, where Jean Jewell happens to be the main star. So if you guys know anything about our Sims 4 legacy, we do actually have Jean Jewell. He is one of my favorite characters. He is married into Generation 3 of our Greene family legacy, and he has recently taken up acting after being scouted on the streets, and he takes part in this historical reenactment series that Anuga has completely fallen for. So it is her absolute favorite series. We're going to send her over to, like, maybe practice. That's what we'll have her do. Because she loves music. Music and, like, punching things are what make her happy. Also, let me double check. No, you can't sleep in your sister's room, dude. Like, I know your girlfriend really prefers when this bed is, like, absolutely pristine. But this actually happens to be, I'll do right side of the bed for you. And then, is there a left side of the bed? Okay, left side of the bed for you, sir. And then a right side of the bed for Vima, who we will meet in just a second. But that is kind of an interesting crossover that you guys are going to see have a big effect in the future. Anuga is kind of trapped. Oh, what are you doing, Vima, that makes you mischievous? Oh, she is trolling the forums. She's probably on a dating site. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But Anuga, yeah, she's got some anger issues, and she actually basically got expelled from high school and just never bothered going back. So it's been a real struggle for Stefan. He's trying to do his best by his sister, but he feels like he just has not been a very good surrogate parent, even though at least he has been able to put a roof over his head with her, and he's at least been able to go to some of the local colleges and universities, even though he commutes for hours every day to do his medical training so he can become a doctor. Meanwhile, for Anuga, I mean, growing up here in the backwaters where there's like no economic prosperity, it's just kind of a dying like mill town. I mean, look at this place. There's not a lot going on here. There's not a lot going on here except for a new werewolf pack that has recently moved in and is involved in a lot of crime, and we'll talk about those guys in just a second. But Anuga's only glimpse of the outside world is actually through all of the movies that she has become totally and completely obsessed with. So she loves the movies. Her favorite actor in the world and her huge parasocial crush is Jean Jewell, who, by the way, publicly is not known to be a married man, just for a little crossover reference there. But she believes herself to be the most loyal fan of them all, because not only does she love Jean's appearances in some of the new indie films and some of the period dramas that he has been appearing in, but she also absolutely loves his music, which is actually where she found him first. And so she considers herself one of the most hardcore fans and is trying to like learn how to play the guitar, trying to learn all of his music, and listening to his soulful voice and seeing anything with that sincere gaze of his peering out at her from the films that he stars in gives her a sense of, you know, hope, imagination of a life that's a little different and a little better. And lately, there have been rumbles from one of the local wolf packs, or werewolf packs, I should say, that if you perhaps want to dip your hands or paws into some of the darker, more criminal elements of society, maybe you could get enough money that you too could go to Del Sol Valley and live there in the hopes of just possibly meeting, you know, the absolute best actor who you totally have this connection with. So Anuga, she's got some parasocial issues going on that she really needs to deal with. But we are going to be using her to explore the werewolf side of things. Meanwhile, we will be poking at the warlock side of things once more with Stefan. And never fear, my friends, because if a goody-goody two-shoes brother doing his best to be a genius and, you know, be a good doctor, he is indeed a medical intern now, it sounds too boring. Well, never fear, because that happily ever after, it might get a little complicated, especially if you're snooping in your fiance's computer. Vima. This, my friends, is Vima Merriweather. She is the great niece, very distantly and yet still very potently related to a famous fairy godmother. And she's actually part fairy. She is not a full-blooded fairy, which means that she is not. Here, we'll have her go ahead. We'll have her create her social media profile and spend a little bit of time. She totally would spend time socializing. Let's have her chat with. Anybody to chat with? Maybe we'll go with this Jonathan guy because he seems like he might give compliments. But Vima here actually happens to be a very, very young part fairy, and very, very young part fairy who's just old enough to be considered an adult and sent out for marriage alliances with some of the other few magical families still left alive in the world, happens to be 70 years old. So Vima is about, almost 3 times the age of Stefan, but she happens to be half the maturity level. So when it comes to, like, fairies, even though, like, canonically, like, her age is much greater than Stefan's, do not be too concerned because she basically just finally left the magic realm and she just finally is beginning her young adult life. She's been sent out. She actually really thinks Stefan has a lot going for him and he's going to be the perfect base, you know, once he starts making a ton of money, to be able to give her a wonderful, like, very rich home. As you can tell, all of the money in the household has kind of gone to making her bedroom beautiful. Thank you very much. But she's more kind of in it for the money and to be able to have somebody support her while she goes ahead and takes care of her true wants and desires, which happen to be getting as much flattery and getting as much romantic attention as possible as a serial romantic. Fun fact, this is the very first time I have ever played as a serial romantic, and we will indeed aggressively be following Vima's desires for romance wherever she happens to go, and we're gonna just keep this going and do our best not to get caught, but also see if we're able to fly under the radar of Anuga, who, by the way, really hates her future sister-in-law. She just knows that there's something, like, totally stuck up about this goody-goody two-shoes, or, like, well, not really goody-goody two-shoes, that's her brother. But there's just something stuck up somewhere in Vima that she just can smell something is off and does not like her at all. However, Vima does have a extremely strong relationship with Stefan right now, but with him going to be so busy with all of the work that he needs to do and, you know, going out and earning all that money, then if she happens to find some other things that could keep her a little distracted, who could really blame her? In fact, we'll go ahead. I think she's actually, let's go ahead and, send a, you know what? She would send a flirty text. We'll go ahead and send a little flirty text and maybe do just a little bit of chatting in her fiance's office, no less. Oh, I feel so scandalous. I have never sent a flirty text to a sim not in a proper romantic relationship with my sim before. Look at her. She just feels really like cheeky about it too, which I think is kind of funny. But that is Vima Merriweather. So yeah, guys, we're gonna have a lot of fun kind of seeing this through. I do love the fact that Vima is a distant descendant of the famous fairy godmother. She does indeed have a spinning wheel that she never pays attention to, and also is a broken mod, curses, but it looks awesome, that she was given because she is part of the fairy godmother line, and she has a tiny little bit of magic that does come out when she spins and weaves, and also causes birds to come and visit her and causes plants to grow up around her. So it does make her feel absolutely fabulous. And just, you know, look at all of this. Who could possibly think that she's anything other than amazing? She makes flowers grow where she walks. But it's clearly given her a spoiled, self-entitled personality that we might see go interesting places. Yeah. But there we go, guys. So that is kind of the summary of things. Parasocial in a one-sided relationship with a celebrity, Anuga, mixed together with a cheating distant fairy who's the descendant of a fairy godmother, and just poor Stefan, who is doing his best to try to hold his family together. What? I'm sleeping. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh, I wonder if she might start flirting with some vampires, because I don't think Vima is very patient whatsoever. Oh my goodness. But we are going to see where all of their stories will take them. And I do have a planned crossover for our Sims 4 Greene family legacy upcoming. So if you're going to wonder how long we are here in Moonwood Mills, the answer is until everything explodes, or until a secret future that I have planned for being able to bring together that little bit of drama that I mentioned about Anuga being completely obsessed, and to an unhealthy degree, with Jean Jewel. Hopefully she'll find some other strength and we'll be able to kind of like redirect her, but we're definitely gonna have to see where things take us. But yay! Okay, there we go! This is so awesome! I can't wait! Now that we've finally gotten all of the story bits out of the way, we can actually start telling the story. We can just be here for the organic story that will be told. Other than setting the stage, you guys know me. I like to step back and just see where the random whims of my Sims happen to take us when it comes to all of their stories. So let's come over, and I actually want to see, Anuga, is there anything that I could actually do to bring out your fury? I've not looked at anything to do with the werewolves yet, so this is all a surprise for me. Fury envelops, oh, updated, oh my gosh. Oh, and by the way, Vima here does actually have a job. She wants somebody else to earn all the money, but she does want attention and fame. She doesn't want to be an actress because even she knows that that would bring a little bit too much attention to the fact that she doesn't really age the way that the rest of the world does. I think she's always secretly resented the fact that she kind of has to stay off screen, and she has to be very concerned about the fact that she is part fairy, that she doesn't age like the rest of the world, and she actually has to hide those things in order to keep herself safe. So that's always frustrated her, but she can absolutely and totally work on being a critic. So that is what she is. She is a critic. I might have her, well, I would say go to bed, but I'm just gonna let her do whatever the heck she wants. So maybe social networking? I totally could see her going ahead and updating media status. If she could, she would like stream, but I feel like that would be a little bit too much. We might have her do some writing. We'll have her write a column for fame. Even it may sound like a lot of work, but she has no problem putting her own opinion out there in the world. Thank you very much. And meanwhile, Anuga, I legitimately don't know anything about the werewolves, other than the fact we have Werewolf Initiate, which is going to be Anuga's new aspiration, and it is one of the new aspirations with this stuff pack. Yeah, I guess this is a stuff pack. So Werewolf Initiate. This Sims wants to unleash her inner beast and become a werewolf. If we complete this, we get Fanged Friend. Fanged Friend gets an additional boost to their relationship with both werewolves and non-werewolf Sims. So isn't that just everybody? Like, don't you just get a boost to your relationship with everyone then? It'd be kind of funny if you got that reward trait, but it meant that vampires, who apparently have like this conflicted lore in the Sims world with werewolves, it'd be interesting if the vampires actually, you complete that and then you get like way lower on the scale for friendship with them. But we want to level up to Runt. Pup no more. Achieve the second tier of werewolf progression. Anuga's progress can be tracked via the werewolf abilities panel. We want to experience a full moon, which I think means we need to actually look. And I think... Oh, add wedding event now. Oh, I haven't even been here since the wedding events. Oh, look, and you can see when the full moon is going to be. Cool. So Thursday night is going to be a full moon, and her brother is actually going to be home from work that day. So I imagine if it's kind of funny to imagine he tries to take full moons off so that he can go ahead and be with his sister just in case. Read werewolf books. Try checking out bookshelves around Moonwood Mill or purchasing werewolf books via the computer while discovering the secrets of werewolf history. Anuga might even have an epiphany. Ooh, so that might be interesting. Maybe she's going to be like digging through some family journals, we could say, that she finds. But I literally know nothing about like the Fury. Fury envelops werewolves like a beautiful flaming blanket. As fury grows, their animalistic instincts begin to manifest and will eventually take over. Fury gain is constant and hastened by temperaments, preferences, werewolf abilities, and the full moon. Be careful out there. Ooh, interesting. And then this is our like current rank pup, next rank runt, and then we get ability points. So what are these? So these are kind of like the get famous and kind of like the vampire and the witch stuff then. It looks like some of these are linked together. Hello? Ferocity. Intimidate other Sims for fun and profit. Oh my gosh. Unlock the ability to use ferocious intimidation on others. Anuga can now bare her fangs and sim fling in terror. With any luck, they'll drop their wallet too. If being a bit beastly is wrong, Anuga doesn't want to be right. Oh my gosh, that's so her. Wolf nap. Sleep anywhere on the ground using the ability Wolf nap. It's time you learned that beds are just suggestions. Now Anuga can curl up into a ball and sleep anywhere. Oh my goodness. Territory marking. Leave a mark on the world and relieve bladder need. Be free. Enjoy the relief of being able to mark territory anywhere and at any time. The world is your canvas. Scavenger. Dig up lost treasures and artifacts. Oh, maybe we'll snag one of that and then say that that's how she finds like her family's journals, which will be the werewolf books. There is a wealth of lost artifacts right below Anuga's feet. With the ability to scavenge ground, she'll be able to pull treasures right out of the earth with her bare hands. Who cares what the neighbors think? And then we have personal grooming, lick the dirt away. Is Anuga feeling dirty? Leave her, just have her lick herself clean. Why reinvent the wheel when the answer was inside us all along? Social inappropriateness of using groom self may vary. Oh my goodness. And then dormant abilities. Dormant abilities are available at any tier and don't require spending ability points. Each is unlocked by completing the relevant objectives for that ability. What? Werewolf empathy, which helps you to pacify other werewolves, unlocked by reaching Delta rank in the wolf pack. And then Lunar Epiphany from Read the Ancient Werewolf Writings. Interesting. So comprehend the lost secrets of the moon. This is an important step towards understanding the history and nature of werewolves and can lead to learning how to cure the element for good. Okay, I don't think she'd care about that. Werewolf mentorship. Teach other werewolves with skill and grace. So then she can go ahead. Werewolves under her guidance will receive bonus rank, mood, and relationship gains while being mentored, taught to howl, or having werewolf experiences shared with them. Then there's Werewolf Menace. Enjoy scaring Sims and feel no guilt about it. Oh my goodness. Anuga has given in to the beast within and now has a thirst for chaos. Scaring others will now make her feel playful. Sure, it's not nice to antagonize someone who's already terrified, but Anuga left nice on the side of the road a long time ago. Okay, that sounds so freaking cool. There's also diplomacy to win over werewolf allies. And transforming mastery. Transform into beast mode at will. Unlocked by preventing your werewolf from scaring any Sims during a fury-induced rampage. Okay, I really want her to be able to do that. because I feel like transforming at any time should be something I want for the version of werewolves that Anuga is part of, which is like a inherited werewolfism, to have. But we are absolutely going to make her ferocious, and we are going to go ahead and let her scavenge as well. I'm not going to look at the others yet because I kind of want to be a little surprised. So yoink. Yay! Okay. Well, for now, I think we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to have her nap on the sofa and have a little bit of a rest because holy cats! We have actually covered a lot of things now. Oh, look at the sad spot where this tree used to be. Oh, be still my poor heart. Oh, they like milled away all of these old trees. Oh, wow. What's going on over here? You guys, we got a lot to explore. To say the least. Like, we have a lot of territory that we need to go ahead and explore, potentially apparently mark. And we're gonna have a good time. I'm really excited to see where these Sims stories take them because I'm already really falling in love with just all of the potential that has unfolded just with setting up their characters. And a huge thank you to our patrons for helping me out because like it wasn't hard, because it's never hard to come up with some really cool characters with our patrons, but it was the hype. It was absolutely the hype that made it so that I was so excited to dive into the side story. So I hope you guys are all so excited to join me. If you would like to, do please consider subscribing to join along on this and thousands of adventures. But most importantly, my friends, stay curious, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!